A one, a two, a 1, 2, 3, 4.
You are listening to Fantasy Brews.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 20 of Fantasy Brews, the podcast that likes to cover all things NFL as well as dabbling in fantasy football. I'm KA-KAW here with co-host Mike Heinisch.
We dabble.
Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Fantasy Brews Pod and save us in your favorite podcast listening app. We're both heading into the next round of playoffs in Dynasty. We're not playing each other.
Correct.
But we could meet in the championship, and then we're also in the next round of losers in my redraft, which I don't think we're playing each other. I think we could also meet in the losers championship.
I'm not done yet. I have somebody tonight, I'm pretty sure.
I
have Nick Chubb.
Yeah, but they also have people tonight.
And I have a lot of... I'm really far behind.
They have Lamar Jackson and Justin Tucker tonight.
Oh, no.
And yeah, you're not winning.
I guess I can't root for Justin Tucker today.
I think I would not mind a double championship. One for losers, one for winners.
That would be...
In both leagues, that'd be hilarious.
That would be really funny.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah, this isn't that bad. I just need Nick Chubb to outscore Lamar Jackson and Justin Tucker and make up a 36-point deficit.
Yeah, no problem.
You got it, Chubb.
I think you got it. Probably not. But other than that, confidence levels, I think I can sneak out a win in my redraft league. All I need is one, and I think I can do it.
I was really confident going into this whole... I thought I was going to be in the playoffs as much as I was worried I wouldn't make the playoffs. Then I didn't. Then my team got re-injured again. But we'll see. There's 2 weeks to make it up. Just can't lose.
I got Brady against Atlanta. That's worth 30, right?
It could be. Especially your league is 6 points for a passing touchdown.
Today we're drinking Goose Island 312. Just the Urban Wheat Ale. It's a very basic beer, but it's one it's one of my favorite beers to just get and drink casually. I went down to the brewery last winter.
Nice.
Went down there. They told us the story about why it's called Goose Island. I don't remember it, but...
Interesting. I've had this before.
Go there and ask them. I don't know, man.
And that would be in... Is that
Chicago?
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. But Goose Island, always been a good beer. 312, my favorite of theirs. Just so simple and easy to drink.
Is that a zip code?
I don't remember that part either of the tour. I remember they provided us with beer.
That makes sense. Good brewery. 312 is Chicago.
There you go. Justin Tucker update is coming to you now.
All right, so Justin Tucker on Monday night made only 4 of 5 extra points. He actually mixed one, which is pretty abnormal, first one of the year. But he made 4 extra points. He also knocked in 1 field goal from over 50 yards for a total of 7 NFL points. That brings his cumulative season total up to 105. So with 3 weeks left, he really needs to put in the work. He needs like 36 points. So it's 12 NFL points a game for the next 3 games. It's possible he hit 12 in week 6 and 15 in week 2. So here's for hoping for a bunch of field goals from the Ravens over the course of the next few weeks. Keep it up, Tuck.
There it was. Today we have our facts for you, of course, a recap of major Week 14 storylines, some news updates on all your favorite players. Then we are going to do a quick evolution Pokemon comparison to some players. After that, we're not going to be doing our regular highs and lows because it's playoffs. You should have your team for the most part by now. And with so many teams being eliminated, the way you don't need to know as much if you're eliminated. The chances, I don't know.
It's not like you're trying to trade for somebody.
Yeah. Instead, we're just going to look at some of the guys that are available through the waiver wire in a lot of leagues in case you suddenly need a fill-in. You don't know between this week and next week what could happen. There's always some random person pops up with injuries in practice that'll miss time. So then we'll give you our prop lock of the week. We're just going to run through the games. We're just going to do a quick run-through of the games themselves and then end things, as always, with Bruce Clues.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
And there you have the facts of life. The facts of life.
All right. So my fact, this is something that has been going on the whole year, and I kind of forgot about it, and then I remembered it, and I wanted to look back into it. So on the year, the Jaguars have, between the whole team, they have 282 rushing attempts. 33 of those are from quarterbacks. Minshew has the most at 27. Glennon has 5.
You mean starting quarterback Gardner Minshew?
Currently, yes, he's back. His stash is back. I'm so happy for that. I love Minshew, obviously. So of those number of targets, 33 were from quarterbacks, 16 are from receivers. Chenault has 15, Keenan and Cole has 1. So between just carries to running backs, there's 233 on the year. Of those 233 rushing attempts, rookie sensation James Robinson has 224. So literally on the entire year, running backs that aren't James Robinson have carried the ball literally 9 times for the Jaguars. I actually didn't write those numbers. It was like 7 to one guy and 2 to another or something. Zigbo was in there. But yeah, I knew that was like a thing where like, I remember after week 1, James Robinson everyone was like, literally no one else carried the ball. It was just him. And that pretty much is still happening. At least at the running back position for sure.
James Robinson's awesome. I like him a lot.
He's crazy. I'm so sad I traded him.
And I'm so sad the guy I'm trying to get him from doesn't have any other running backs. But mine, this is going to be a humble congrats to the Bills or Dolphins, but come on. The Patriots' streak of 11 straight AFC East division titles has ended with the Bills most likely winning the division this year. The Patriots cannot win it, and the Dolphins would need to win out while the Bills lose out.
I see.
But 11 years winning the division.
That's crazy.
Dolphins won it last in 2008, and that's only because that was the Matt Castle season, where the Patriots didn't even. I think they went 8-8 that year with their backup quarterback all year.
I believe so.
And then before that, the Patriots won the 5 years previous, so they almost had 17 years straight. If Tom Brady wasn't out that 1 year,
that is so crazy.
Buffalo's first division win, presumably, since 1995.
Jeez.
So. It's about time. All they had to do was take Brady out of the division, and somebody else can win it now.
Diggs, just because you're talking about the Bills, Diggs has done a couple things. I think he was the first receiver this year to hit 100 receptions.
Yeah, and he's on pace to get the franchise record in yards.
Right, and I think his 100th reception tied the Bills' franchise single season record as well.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Cool. That's pretty neat.
I got 2 other quick ones. Over the last 2 NFL seasons, no one has thrown more interceptions than Jameis Winston, who has not thrown any this year because he has not been playing, but he still has the record, or the most of the past 2 seasons at 30. Yeah. Second is Phillip Rivers, currently at 29.
Oh, you can do it, Phillip!
So he'll probably do it. And then the Saints went 50 straight games without allowing a single 100-yard rusher, but then they played the Eagles this past week. And Hurts and Sanders both had over 100 yards rushing. So the 50 straight games, though, without a 100-yard rusher, it's crazy.
That's really impressive.
That's
I did
nuts.
not know that.
I know the Saints have always had a pretty decent defense, but that's a crazy stat.
I forget if this came up yesterday or if we saw it and talked about it, but did you know the Steelers clinched a playoff spot yesterday with their loss?
With the Dolphins' loss.
Yeah. It's just funny when you lose and clinch, but math.
Week 14 recap, some of the highlights. Jets are garbage.
Yeah.
They lost 40-3. Wilson 206, 4 touchdowns and 1. All right, game. Not a lot of yardage, but I mean it was 43. The backups were in the third quarter.
Yeah.
So,
oh no,
they're just so bad. Houston.
That's what happens when they fire their defensive coordinator.
Yeah. Houston eliminated from playoffs. Lost to Chicago. When Chicago's somehow still in the race.
That's ridiculous.
I saw before the game that Houston, they're last in the league in rushing before this game, but they're second in passing.
Wow.
So overall, they were tied for 16th in the,
Sure.
Come on, true MVP,
yeah.
Watson and Henry are if you take the literal most valuable player term, Henry and Watson are the 2 are the MVPs.
I would. It's hard to not agree with that, you know?
Watson is doing everything he possibly can to win 4 games. And
poor guy.
Yeah. Oh my god, I feel so bad for him there.
Do you want him to just as a Watson fan, not even as a fantasy thing? Do you want him to stay there long term?
I want them to get him wide receivers, better tight ends, anything, man. I mean, Cooks, but he was hurt. They need one other. They need to draft a rookie receiver, a good rookie receiver next year.
Yeah, someone to grow with him.
Packers and the Steelers clinch. Packers defeating the Lions. Roger 290, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He had a rushing as well.
Yeah.
So close to secure the MVP for him.
I think he's definitely ahead right now. I think right. Mahomes had 3 interceptions.
I think he's got it.
Oh.
He's all but got it. He's got a lot more to He hasn't had it as easy as far as the receivers that they have in Chicago.
Yeah,
they're Chicago Chiefs.
Yes,
I heard. I got the Chi. You're Chiefs and
right
just
track.
changed to Chicago. Could have been Chicago, am I right, Trubisky? Steelers lose to Bills, but they clinch due to the Dolphins loss we mentioned. Pittsburgh.
That was a close game too, and then their best quarterback on the field.
Pittsburgh losing 2 in a row. They're still a scary team, but they've lost a lot of key defensive players like Devin Bush and then his backup and then his backup. They're in like their 4th string like middle linebacker or something.
Well, that's rough.
And yeah. So that's going to hurt them in the long run. It already has been hurting them in the long run, but
Yeah.
I feel like they still have a good shot at least winning one playoff game.
They should win this next week against the Bengals.
Yeah, I hope so, you would think. Football team takes the lead in their shitty division with a win over the 49ers, and Giants lost to Arizona. Football team, 2 defensive touchdowns, no offensive touchdowns in that game.
Terry McLaurin has been really struggling.
Well, Alex Smith had that injury, and they're not sure what's going to happen with him yet. So Haskins was in, and maybe they just go back to Haskins again. Oh man, I don't know.
Why don't they use the middle guy? I think it's Case Keenum, right? He was fine.
They don't want Fine. Well, I guess they want Fine. Does win that division.
Fine, greater sign.
Fine will win that division.
Yeah.
Hurts gets a win in his first start after defeating the Saints, 167 and a touchdown, 106 rushing for Hurts. Pretty
Another
impressive.
fun fact, Hurts is the second player in NFL history to have second quarterback to have 100 rushing yards in his first start. Lamar Jackson did it as well.
Oh, wow.
The more you know.
And then the Chargers win the battle of the lead blowers. That game sucked.
Mm-hmm.
That was a horribly coached game. There were so many mistakes, and it was just, everyone should be fired.
I want to like the Chargers, but Anthony Lynn makes it really hard. Their coach.
He is such a bad coach.
Yeah.
He is the bad decision maker.
Yeah,
He's bad with time.
Yes.
He does not know how to control the clock at all. Hence
Critical
all the
decisions.
blown leads.
Yeah.
Hence, not even just the blown leads where they leave too much time for all the other teams, but like this one going into halftime, they had a shot. They were like in the red zone. They could have done something, and they just let the clock run out.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay.
You got to be so frustrated as like a player on that team, you know.
And they only won. They got lucky because there was pick.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan pick, Herbert pick, Matt Ryan pick again. So then they got the ball back.
No, you take it. No, you.
We don't want to win. No, we don't want to. We want a worse pick.
They both love blowing.
We
leads.
want a better pick.
You phrased it well.
As far as news updates go, there is not a lot to talk on our end right now. That we've got the final notes from. Obviously, don't hear that until usually like Friday.
Yeah, keep your eyes out.
Stafford's in doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be Chase Daniel there. Marvin Jones Jr., do you play him?
Maybe if Galladay's out. We've talked a lot of times about how that could be good and bad, but I think Marvin Jones has been doing okay. I don't have.
It's
him
against
anywhere.
Tennessee.
So the matchup is nice. I would probably. I mean, it's going to be. I think that like question in particular is pretty team dependent, but I think there's probably a fair amount of cases where I would end up starting Marvin Jones.
I think so. I think he's going to be looked at a lot. Obviously,
I feel like it's one of those things where he won't screw your team, and you have as good a chance at a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I'd still start him. I probably will be starting him in my redraft league, just because I don't have many choices.
yeah, that's what it depends. Like if you have to start 3 receivers plus your flex. But if you have just 2 receivers and you're doing good at running back, so your flex might be a running back. Like I could see a world where maybe you don't need to start him. But
It's looking like Kittle will not be playing again. Not that it matters. They're about to be eliminated from playoffs, I'm sure.
mm-hmm.
Minshew named the starter again, and Jalen Hurts looking like he's going to start the rest of the season. He earned it. They were waiting to hear what's happening with Alex Smith and whatever else pops up throughout the week. Let's do some Pokemon comparisons, but of the evolution. So how I imagine it is you take evolution, you Pidgey. You start with your Pidgey.
Sure.
And so this is going to be like a new guy, a rookie maybe, not so established yet, but then he evolves to Pidgeot.
Pidgeotto.
That
That's
was
the
the
middle
next
one.
one. Pidgeotto. And so this guy's a little better. He's kind of the same game style as the other guy, but a little better. But then you got Pidgeot.
Right.
And he's the top tier of that kind of player. So we just decided to do the starter Pokemon, the original starter Pokemon evolutions, because
Do you know how
I know
many
you pay
generations there
attention.
are?
You pay attention to that. I know like up to Pokemon Gold. I don't know all the other ones. Like there's one that's like literally just a bag of garbage. There's one that's a
Yeah.
freaking lamppost. Like
Yeah.
we get
I
it.
like that one.
You ran out of ideas. Just why do you need so many more? Why do they need more?
I don't know. It's crazy.
They don't need more.
I used to be so good at it, but the last couple generations, I've really fallen off of like 5 or 7 years ago, I could look and like you could show me a picture, I could name it. And now I definitely can't do that.
Well, like it started off like okay, the first 150,
Grimer's just a pile of sludge.
They're all like forms of animals. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, they're fighting animals. The second one, it's like, okay, this still, now we're adding kind of like dinosaur, like prehistoric stuff, and then it just keeps going into, oh, this one's a baseball bat. This one's, they just look around the room,
the one that's a
dart.
A thing of keys, a ring of keys.
Yeah, what the hell, man? Like,
there's an ice cream cone.
So we stuck with the beginners.
They do still make some really cool designs that have really cool, like, origins or whatever, but there's a lot more shitty ones now.
Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur, Pokemon 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Okay, so here's how I approach this one. Grass type. So I chose running backs. They stick to the grass.
Okay.
Their weakness is flying, right? So they're running, they're always on the ground. Grass types are constantly growing. I'm
going to pivot real quick, because I did receivers for this, but I like your logic, so I'm going to switch on the fly.
Okay. I picked Bulbasaur, Darrell Henderson.
Oh, okay.
Ivysaur, Ronald Jones, Venusaur, Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Because these guys are not known for their receiving yards, but they're known for the yards on the ground. Receiving yards in order, 154, 165, 109. Not great. Like,
right.
That's not... Well, I'm not saying that's bad, because I like running backs who stick to running.
Do their job.
Yes. And then their rush yards, 564, Darrell Henderson. Of course, he's the starter. 900, Ronald Jones. And then 1,532 for Derrick Henry. Obviously, he's the tier 1, top tier there. So they're all guys. They don't really need to get the receiving yards. Henderson's still pretty young and not. Maybe someday he'll be a little more developed, but that's why he's the Bulbasaur.
Right.
Ronald Jones, I really like him, what he's been doing this year, and he's kind of one of the bigger guys too. And then obviously Derrick Henry is just a brick wall.
Yeah.
He is the Venusaur.
He's crazy. I'm going to renounce what I said and go back to my original thing, because I had a specific reason for making Derrick Henry Blastoise, so I'll come back to that. So I did receivers for the grass starters for no real reason. My logic was a little less intense, but I kind of looked really quickly at the Pokedex entries of the original games. They like change them every time there's a new game, but I looked at the original Red and Blue or Red and Green for the starters. Bulbasaur, what they focused on was just that bulb that's born on his back, and then that grows and gets stronger from there. So I try to think of somebody who was born with the talent, but if they want to get better or sustain what they're doing, they have to, keep growing. And I went with Odell Beckham Jr. because I don't know if he's done that. He definitely has the talent doing his one-handed catches, but I guess he got hurt this year. He's dealt with injuries, but he kind of has, his attitude gets in the way occasionally as well. I like him a lot. I hope he does well. From there, you evolve into Ivysaur. The bulb on the back gets bigger, and it makes it harder for the Ivysaur to stand on its hind legs. So I started thinking of someone who's bulking up, kind of getting bigger, getting better as well, and I went with AJ Brown. And then my Venusaur, he might even be younger, probably the youngest of these three, but I went DK Metcalf. I'm just thinking of someone who's
he's the same age as AJ Brown.
Yeah, they're the same year, right? And OBJ's got to be older, I imagine. But DK Metcalf he's just there. He's arrived.
The disrespect to OBJ being the Bulbasaur of the three.
I mean, you could say it was
the other guys are only in their second season, but I can almost tell you OBJ had better numbers at that point than these guys do.
Oh, I'm sure he did. But the logic there was he definitely was born with it. He's got to keep growing. Because he's been, again, injuries, but he's been flying below the radar lately.
It's because he's on the Browns. OBJ's rookie year, 1,305 and 12 touchdowns. His second year, 1,450 and 13 touchdowns. His third year, 1,367 and 10 touchdowns. Holy fuck. And that was with Eli Manning.
Wait, keep going.
That year he played 4 games, 302 and 3.
But
that 1,052 and 6, 1,035 and 4. So
yeah, I assume those touchdowns will go down.
Just switch him into AJ Brown.
That's fair. I could do that.
Give him. I'm not a huge OBJ fan, but he deserves a little more respect.
And I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I feel like if he's even on the list, I like him.
Dude, that year, 1,052 and 6 touchdowns. That was in 12 games.
I remember that, actually. That's right. Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Beckham. Just trying to point out your raw God-given talent.
All right. Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard. Fire type becomes a dual flying /fire type when becoming Charizard. So Their weakness is ground, so I pick quarterbacks that are not big rushers, kind of the opposite of what I did with the running backs.
Sure.
Also water, so they don't. Water's their weakness, and I classified wide receivers as water because they usually have the most drip.
I thought you were going to say quarterbacks don't like rain or
something. So I put that their weakness may be water. Maybe they don't always have the best wide receivers to complement them. And QBs are often the fire behind the team, and they let the ball fly. So I picked this evolution of Derek Carr transforms into Matthew Stafford, right?
Sure.
Would that be a step up for Derek Carr? If he was like Matthew Stafford, the Raiders would be better?
Yeah.
And then after Matthew Stafford comes the Aaron Rodgers is the Charizard Carr. On the season, 3,343, 24 touchdowns, 7 picks, 141 rush yards. Stafford, 3,522, 22-6, and a 91 rush yards. Rodgers, 3,685, 39-4, and 100 rush yards. So none of them are putting up a lot of rush numbers. They don't need to if they can throw it right, which they all are putting together pretty decent seasons. Rodgers, obviously, especially. But I think, honestly, Derek Carr should be better at this point in his career than he is, I think. But he's still not bad. Like, he's that Pokemon you just hold on to and you don't want to evolve.
So
you have like a level 50 Charmander and you just don't want it ever to evolve. It's just staying a Charmander no matter how long it's there.
If you recall, Pokemon that don't evolve learn moves earlier. So, right? Like Charmander's going to learn Fire Blast at like 30-something, whereas Charizard is like 50-something or whatever. But I don't know how that translates to football.
Well, and in regards to the wide receivers as well, obviously Carr doesn't have that wide receiver yet. He's got a lot of young guys.
Right.
And they haven't figured things out 100% yet. Matthew Stafford's been dealing with a lot of problems not having Galladay this year.
Right.
And then Rodgers, Adams missed a little time, but besides Adams, he's kind of got these guys who are only putting up average numbers because of Rodgers.
Yeah.
If they had a different quarterback, they wouldn't be doing any of this stuff. MVS, did you know he leads the league in yards per catch?
I think I did know that because it was from my stat for Bruce Clues the other day, where somebody else was second behind MVS.
Oh.
But otherwise, I would not have known that. Not even as a Packer fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Tanyan's been great. Tanyan has like 9 touchdowns, I think, on the year, but it's because of
DJ
Charizard
Moore.
at
DJ Moore is a second.
That's who it is, yeah. Maybe still, I don't know.
I think he is.
Well, I went with quarterbacks for the fire Pokemon as well. Again, my logic was slightly different. I think I kind of like did evolution of a quarterback's career, maybe at least in this day and age, and it kind of depends. But with my Charmander quarterback, I went with Kyler Murray, off to a really hot start. If you recall from all 3 of these guys, the Pokemon, but especially Charmander, the whole thing is like if the flame on the tail goes out, the Pokemon dies, you know? And so I was thinking of like a young quarterback where like, they're obviously pretty good, but something could, like, sometimes it happens where something goes wrong and the career gets cut short. We don't want that to happen to Kyler. When he evolves, if he wants to keep progressing, he needs to rely not as much on his legs, just in general for a quarterback. Kyler's great. And has to rely a little more on his arm. So I transitioned Kyler, had him evolving into Aaron Rodgers. That would be a good one too, actually.
Well, I was going to say, because Watson can get it done on his feet, but he has a good enough arm that he doesn't always have. He doesn't have to run as much. Kyler, obviously, I'd say he's a better runner than Watson. Because he's so much smaller. I guess it's easier for him to move.
And it's not like
maneuver,
Kyler's a bad passer or that he like over relies on the run. It's just that if you want to evolve and keep playing football, you can't, Cam Newton's not having a great year. So Aaron Rodgers is, I think especially more so now, he is running less, like you kind of just pointed out, but you kind of saw that from Rodgers. He still runs the ball when he needs to. He did it more in previous years than he does now. And then is Aaron Rodgers 36 or 37, I think? Charmeleon evolves at level 36. If you want to keep playing to the older ages, you can't really run at all. You have to evolve into Tom Brady, who is...
he has over 1,000 career rush yards, Michael.
I'm so sorry. I think all of your
he's got a lot of rushing touchdowns too. They're all from within a couple inches, but
I wonder what his longest rushing touchdown. Does he even have a 2-yard rushing touchdown?
I'm sure he's got like a 2-yarder, maybe a 4.
That would be crazy. I wonder what it is.
I'm gonna look up what Tom. Keep going. I'm gonna look up Tom Brady's longest rushing touchdown.
This one I felt the least good about because when I think of Charizard, I think of like almost like crazy and destructive and stuff. Whereas Tom Brady is like he can get pretty red in the face. He can get fired up for sure. But for the most part, I think he's pretty cool and collected and calm and stuff. But yeah, if you want to keep playing Pokemon or quarterback into your old age, you have to make sure you perfect the main part of the quarterback game, managing the game, throwing the ball. So to get that high level, you need to be Tom Brady.
Let me look if this is just showing. Oh, it's just showing passes.
Oh no!
Longest. Oh, it's his longest rush. Okay, well,
What is his longest rush?
the longest rush of his career is 22 yards in
Holy
2006.
They probably took about 22 seconds.
I don't.
He was pretty young then, I guess.
I don't know the longest. I can't find the longest rushing touchdown. I'm sure I could if I kept going, but I'm going to talk about Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise.
Brady, sorry to cut you off, but Brady ran to 1,000 rushing yards in 265 games. The next slowest quarterback was Y.A. Tittle? Am I saying that right? But so the second slowest took 161 games, 104 games less than Brady.
When you got an arm like that, you don't have to run.
And when Brady had his 22-yard run, Michael Vick had 1,039 yards in that same season.
Well, Squirtle, Wartortle, Blastoise. Water type, I chose wide receivers, as I said, because they have the most drip. And that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
Their weakness is grass, so I picked long ball guys. And I picked Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, and Devontae Adams. Justin Jefferson obviously being a rookie who's lighting it up right away. I always chose Squirtle as my starter Pokemon, so
Sure.
I picked guys who are already like Justin Jefferson his first year, but he's already great because I love
Right.
Squirtle. Squirtle's not my favorite Pokemon, but I always chose him as a starter.
Yeah.
And Jefferson with 1,078, 7 touchdowns on the year, 16.58 yards per catch. He is a guy he can just run out there, and Kirk can hit him, and he gets the yards. He does what is needed of him.
That's
Obviously,
crazy.
over 1,000 yards in his rookie year, having a killer year. Then Metcalf obviously is even more of a long ball guy. He's such a big guy. He's like a literal long ball guy where you can just jump up and grab it. He's got 1,180 and 10 touchdowns, 17.1 yards per catch. And then I got Adams, who doesn't have as much yards per catch, but that guy, he does whatever he needs to do.
Right.
1,144 and 14 touchdowns on the year. Adams he's got to be the best wide receiver in the NFL.
This year for sure, right? Like,
I mean,
I don't know how you can
there's
say that.
few that can do the stuff. He even missed a couple games.
Mhm.
2 games I think he missed, but 14 touchdowns and that many yards, it's killer.
It's
like,
insane.
He's got he doesn't involve in anybody. He's already at the top level.
Right. I like it. All right, with my water stores, I went the running backs for whatever reason. I already mentioned it, but Derrick Henry's my Blastoise, so I'll start with Squirtle, but I kind of just pictured guys getting to Derrick Henry's part, and I don't know if they exactly link super well, but with Squirtle, I went with somebody who's a rookie but doing great. I went with James Robinson. He's just lighting up the league. We already talked about how many rushing attempts he has on the year. So he monopolizes that backfield. He's doing great. I don't have his exact numbers in front of me, but I think he's clipped 1,000 yards if I'm not mistaken. So that's really cool for him. Following Squirtle and James Robinson is Wartortle and Nick Chubb. I could see that as kind of like a natural progression maybe for Robinson. Chubb can catch the ball, but he's not like super involved in the passing game.
I think he has 100 receiving yards on the year.
Chubb?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has
94?
75. And he's missed 4 games as it is. But yeah, he can. It's not his MO. I guess that's James Robinson has a lot of receptions, so maybe I should backtrack that. And then the final stage of a running back, obviously, is Derrick Henry. And this is what I thought was kind of fun. Part of one of the Pokedex entries from more recent games, I think, with Blastoise is water cannons. The water he shoots can punch through thick steel. And I'm pretty sure Derrick Henry can just, with his fists, punch through thick steel because he's so fucking strong. And he's still super, super fast. He can juke people even though he's huge. So I think that's a natural ending point. How can you not agree Derrick Henry is the final form of a running back, at least this year, for sure.
He's a beast.
So good.
I threw in a last one, Magikarp and Gyarados.
Oh, nice.
And we didn't talk about tight ends at all, so I got really pissed at this guy this weekend. The past couple weeks, actually, my Magikarp is Jordan Akins, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
You've dropped 3 fucking touchdowns in the past 2 games. This past one, if anybody watched the Texans-Bears game, literally just He wide open in the end zone. It just hit him in the shoulder, and the ball went to the ground. He completely missed. He fucking sucks.
The closest defender was like 2 or 3 yards away.
It was an easy-ass touchdown, and he dropped it. And then
Who's got fins out there?
my Gyarados is Travis Kelce because it's going to take a lot of magic, a lot of hard work for Akins to ever get anywhere near Kelce. And Kelce is a red sparkling Gyarados.
Yeah.
And Jordan Akins is a level 2 Magikarp.
That's accurate. That's really accurate.
I need to call it Akins for how shitty he is. I'm so mad at him.
Deontay Johnson's trying to keep up with the drops, but he can't. Akins
Devontae Adams doesn't have any drops. I think he's 188 targets, no drops.
That's crazy. That is crazy. That was kind of his problem, not even 3 years ago or something like that. He was a ball dropper.
But he's killing it.
Go Adams.
Let's talk about a couple of Week 15 waiver ads. A lot of these guys are going to be boom or bust. We'll tell you right now. That's just how the waiver wire is going to work at this point. These guys are going to be boom or bust, but they're worth taking a look at if you suddenly lose a guy. Who knows what could happen during the week, or if you advance again next week.
Please.
So I started with quarterbacks. I listed 3. Phillip Rivers, Andy Dalton, Jalen Hurts. Rivers has a pretty decent schedule. Week 15, maybe not week 16, because this upcoming week he's got Houston, but then week 16 he's got Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. So if you are desperate need of a quarterback 15, I don't know who you'd be replacing, really. Maybe if you're this far in the playoffs, you had a decent quarterback at least. Yeah. But something may happen. Maybe it was Stafford.
Maybe you just been streaming every single week.
Yeah.
Get along that way.
But Phillip Rivers at Houston week 15. Andy Dalton has just been putting together a very safe stat line for fantasy. So I think if it's a desperate need, he is a safe play. He's got all the freaking weapons he could ask for. So he better be a safe play.
Right.
But San Fran and Philly coming up for him, never the worst option. But then Jalen Hurts, because you've seen one game out of him against a really good defense.
Yep.
So he's got Arizona and Dallas coming up in these next 2 weeks. He could be a great play. A great play.
He runs the ball. He had over 100 yards. That's 10 points right there.
Yeah.
Before any passing work.
Do you have any quarterbacks written down?
Yeah, I went with 2 at each position loosely. At quarterback. Oh, and I actually went on NFL.com. So this is specific to them. But I was looking at roster percentages. I only grabbed guys that are available in at least 40% of leagues, if not more. So check 40% obviously is less than half, but it's definitely enough that you should go and take a look at people. For reference, I just picked up Mark Andrews in your league on waivers, which that was a good move. So I don't love him, but Cam Newton runs the ball, so that could always turn
He's got
into
the Jets.
a decent game. Yeah, we've this week 15 is against the Dolphins, but then the Bills. Sorry, in week 16, I believe, which is a good matchup.
Jets are 17, so they got Miami and Buffalo.
It's coming up, and yeah, if you're playing week 17, obviously Jets are a good matchup. He's available in 40.8% of leagues, at least according to NFL.com.
I'm gonna say right now, I'm not starting him against Miami at all.
I definitely would.
No, not a chance.
If you're picking him up, you're picking him up for week 16 against the Bills for sure. Jared Goff, I quickly jotted down. I don't love him. The team likes to run the ball, and he's a
safe guy as well.
Yeah, week 15 Jets, week 16 Seahawks. So that's pretty good. Available in 41.5% of leagues. I also did jot down Jalen Hurts for the running game that he offers. He's only 8.8% owned in NFL.com leagues. And then the last one really quickly was, I mentioned him last week, Mitch Trubisky is only owned in 7.1% of leagues. He's not a high ceiling sort of guy, but he runs the ball a little bit as well. Definitely enough it's worth mentioning. And he's got really good matchups the rest of the way, just like David Montgomery does.
Put down a few running backs as well. Peyton Barber from the football team. Depending on if Gibson is coming back this week, Peyton Barber could be a really good play. Didn't have the best week this past week, but it's just gonna happen. The football team, they didn't get any offensive touchdowns, so it's not just him, obviously. Mm-hmm. But he's gotten 11, 14, and 12 carries in these past 3 weeks, so he's getting a good amount. And he's playing Seattle and Carolina week 15, 16. So if Gibson is out, he's worth a look at. Tony Pollard from the Cowboys, I've said handcuffing. If you got Zeke, handcuffing Pollard would be a great move because honestly, Zeke's I can see next week he's just saying, okay, I'm done for the season. I'm not going to play anymore.
Yeah.
You see that all the time in teams that have just blown their chances.
Yeah, shut down the good players.
I mean, the Cowboys aren't out of it by any means yet. But you see it a lot where, like, week 14, 15 rolls around, they're like, okay, well, I'm not even going to bother playing the rest of the season.
Right. There's only one running back that qualified for me that I wrote down, which is Cam Akers. I would like to apologize for last week where I didn't say drop Cam Akers. I used him as an example to drive the point home of you might have to drop someone who's stop for the, wait and see what if and get your handcuffs. And Cam Akers was unfortunately the name I used. He's currently only owned in 50.5% of NFL.com leagues. So he's relatively available at the time of hearing this. That number's going to be lower. But Akers blew up. He's leading that running back room now. So you definitely want to get him on your team. Other than that, just handcuff Pollard, Madison to back up Dalvin Cook, Mick Nichols in case Henry goes down. Those are guys you should be throwing on your bench with any spots that you have open.
Wide receivers, I got a couple here. Gabriel Davis from the Bills.
Nice.
With Brown being out, Davis is, I think he had a touchdown in 3 consecutive games. And it's only, once you get that confidence instilled, the yards come with it, the targets come with it as well. If you earn it, you're going to get more looks. And it's really, since Tua and him have been getting on kind of a same, nope, that's the wrong team.
Josh
Allen and him have been kind of getting on the same page because Allen doesn't have his Brown that he had last year. Yeah, obviously him and Diggs are working out, but then you can't just throw to one guy all the time. You can, and it kind of works, but I also have Michael Pittman from the Colts.
Nice.
He's been stepping up now that he's established a couple games as a rookie. Russell Gage from the Falcons. If Julio Jones continues to have problems, he's one of those guys I can see saying, okay, I'm done for the year. The Falcons are eliminated. I think the Chargers eliminated them.
I think so.
Yeah.
If not, they're close, for sure.
So he's a guy who he's not going to give up on the season. Well, it's one thing giving up on the season doesn't matter if you're not playing playoffs, but he's going to be working to earn next year's paycheck and earn contract talks and shit like that.
And Russell Gage was actually serviceable and fantasy relevant early to start the season too. So
and that's because him and Julio Jones and Ridley have been like, who's going to miss the game? You this time? Sure.
Right.
One of us is probably.
We'll take turns.
And then my last wide receiver is Rashard Higgins from the Browns.
Nice.
Obviously OBJ being out. I like Higgins a lot. He's been earning a good amount of looks.
Yeah. Yeah, I jotted down 2 names as well, which we didn't overlap on at all, which is great. T.Y. Hilton, he's available in 40.6% of leagues, so I'm definitely straddling that line there.
People gave up on him already.
They did.
We are one of them.
Yeah, I had him in...
We dropped him for Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah, and I had him in your league at one point too, and I dropped him, I think. I'm pretty sure. So last 3 weeks, he's got 23 targets, 277 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He now plays the Texans this coming week, which is great. After that, it's the Steelers, which isn't great, but it's not as bad as it once was. It's still one you try to avoid, but I don't think it's a death sentence anymore, especially if T.Y. Hilton is showing up. Rivers is picking it up a little bit. For Hilton and for Michael Pittman, they actually have the same schedule as Phillip Rivers, too, which was a good schedule the rest of the way. So I would definitely look for him. And then the other receiver I jotted down was Michael Gallup from the Cowboys. The past 3 weeks, he got 6 targets, 11 targets, and 8 targets. So that's been up from what it was before. It's good to see Dalton actually linking up with him. The yardage hasn't come as much these last 3 weeks, although 2 weeks ago he had 86 yards and a touchdown. But when you're seeing that number of targets, the yardage is going to come for sure. He's available in a little over half, 53.1% of leagues.
I did put down one tight end. I put down Irv Smith from the Vikings. He got a lot of looks with Kyle Rudolph missing this past week, so if Kyle Rudolph continues to miss time, Irv Smith is a good start to have.
Yeah, and I think he's been seeing more snap percentage too. I also added 2 tight ends. Jared Cook is actually on a number of waiver wires now, rightfully so, with Josh Hill being the quarterback. Josh Hill, Taysom Hill. He used to be on the Saints, though, Josh Hill. Tight end. But yeah, Jared Cook actually got in the end zone the last couple weeks. I believe his target count the last couple weeks is going up as well. So with Hill, it's actually been improving a little bit. But the goal here is to get ahead of the curve with Drew Brees coming back. Oh, I didn't say my super cool thing. The Breeze is going to float back in, and Jared will get things cooking instead of climbing an uphill battle.
It's not the worst thing that he didn't say it.
Yeah. It was worse than I said it after the fact.
Yeah, it did not help you at all.
And I capitalized the words in my text. The other guy, I mentioned him in last week's episode as well, but Cole Kmet, this past week he saw 7 targets, 86% of snaps, which is the highest of his career. Also,
Jimmy Graham had the tutty, though.
Jimmy Graham did have the tutty. I mix up their numbers. I get really excited. But Cole Kmet has still been involved. He has that soft schedule. The Vikings and then the Jaguars are weeks 15 and 16. And he's available in 99.7% of NFL.com leagues as of this recording.
So shoot us questions on Twitter if you have any. We'll respond almost instantaneously. It's coming down to it in leagues. You gotta, either you're done or you're fighting for not losing.
Yep.
Or win. I don't know. You know how leagues work, right?
Yeah,
you know how competitions are. You either win or lose. Here's your prop lock of the week.
All right, welcome to your Thrive Fantasy prop lock of the week.
I want to be 30. 30 and flirty and thriving.
This week we're going with Jonathan Taylor. We have an over-under of 78.5 rushing yards. The over is going to get you 110 points, and that's what we're taking in this matchup. First off, they're playing Houston, so the running defense is not very good. Second, he's really been unleashed these last few weeks, especially this past week, and I think that's going to continue. He's hit the over on that mark each of the last 3 weeks, actually, with this most recent matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders, seeing him go for 150 rushing yards. And then the third point is he's playing the Houston Texans, which is a really bad rushing defense. So go ahead, lock in Jonathan Taylor for your prop lock of the week. Take the over, and just remember, he's playing the Texans.
All right, let's just do a quick rundown of the games. Do you want to bring up the standings?
Sure.
Because I want to see, I think we won't be 100% on what we say, but we're going to do based off what the standings are looking like with the records, who could be eliminated or clinch based on these games. You should go to NFL.com. They have a great playoff picture. All right, first, of course, is our Thursday night game, Chargers versus Raiders. Chargers already eliminated. Raiders, this is a must-win because they've been on a downhill spiral, even barely beating the Jets. Like, if you win on the last-second touchdown, that's embarrassing
Right.
against the Jets. So this is a huge game for the Raiders. One they can easily win, and I think they will. Chargers at this point are just playing to get that experience. And get the camaraderie amongst the teams.
Yeah, Herbert can get practice.
Raiders sitting at 7-6, so with a win here, that could bump them right back up into a wild card spot, depending on other games. So obviously, a lot of these games for the rest of the season are pretty much must wins for those Raiders.
Yeah, they need one of those wild card spots. The Chiefs clinching their division already.
Saturday, we got 2 games this week. I almost forgot that there were Saturday games.
That's right.
So we have the Bills versus Broncos. Bills, I assume they would clinch the division with a win.
I think so.
Yes, they would. I think they play the Dolphins once more.
Oh, yeah, they do. In the last week, I think, right?
So Bills, I believe, clinch the division and playoffs with a win now because they did beat the Steelers this past week.
Right.
Broncos will be eliminated officially, I believe, with a loss.
That's gotta be true. I can't believe they're like technically still on the bubble.
Broncos have a few players though worth looking at. KJ Hamler having a pretty decent week this past week. Tim Patrick should be owned in leagues at this point. He's earned it. But they've got a couple guys worth looking at as well. The other Saturday game is Panthers versus Packers. Packers already clinched. Panthers would be eliminated with this loss. They're at the very bottom of the bubble, sitting at 4-9. Somehow they're still not out.
Because the NFC East is so bad.
So in that game, I mean, Panthers receivers are probably owned already. Maybe you can pick up Alan Lazard, but I don't even know if he's a safe play.
Curtis Samuel, if he's on your waivers and DJ Moore doesn't play. But...
CMC looking to come back. He says he wants to play no matter what happens.
Yeah.
So
Mike Davis had a good week this past week, too, if CMC doesn't play.
I mean, I guess in this game, I forgot to go over it, but who we got in the Chargers Raiders? We got to agree on Raiders winning.
Yeah, I would take the Raiders there.
Bills, Broncos, pretty obvious.
Yeah,
Bills. These games are pretty obvious. Packers over Panthers.
Right, agreed.
Although, if CMC comes back, the Packers defense honestly could, but in the end, the Packers win in that. Moving on to Sunday's games, some nooners. 49ers versus Cowboys. Both still in contention. Cowboys would profit a lot more from a win than the Niners.
Right.
Niners at 5-8, Cowboys at 4-9.
Well, the Cowboys could still win their actual division.
Yeah,
technically.
Who do you have in this game?
Cowboys and 49ers. if Zeke was playing better, I might say 49ers, or sorry, Cowboys, but I think I'm going to lean 49ers.
I'd say Niners just because they have a better defensive matchup.
Yeah, and I'm rolling with the coach. I think Kyle Shanahan.
Nick Mullins against a shitty defense is going to be better than Dalton against a pretty decent defense.
Yeah, and the 49ers can run the ball with whoever they have, whereas the Cowboys, Pollard's been playing well too, but if Zeke can't get it going, then it's a one-sided attack.
So I think the Niners will be eliminated with a loss there. Seahawks versus football team. This, I think, will be interesting. Great offense against a great offense with a bad defense against a bad offense with a great defense. I don't know. I don't know which way this game. I could see Seattle losing this. I could honestly really see Seattle losing this.
They just lost to the Giants, didn't they?
And I think Seattle would clinch a wild, or at least a wild card.
If they win, they'd be 10 or they beat the Jets.
They'd be 10-4, but the Cardinals, they split on the year, so it'd come down to division record, and they lost to the Rams. I don't know. So that one comes down to tiebreakers that we aren't going to look up right now.
I think that one in the NFC East are probably like the closest division, at least that I can think of.
I guess without the quarterback situation, and if no Antonio Gibson, I got to give it to the Seahawks.
Yeah, I would have to assume the Seahawks are going to win, but you said it well. Like, does it come down? What's better, the Seahawks offense or is the defense of the football team better than the quality of the offensive?
I'll say I'm not comfortable starting Wilson in this game.
Sure,
that's a tough start. If you are in the second round of playoffs with Wilson against the football team, that's going to be rough.
Yeah,
that could be rough.
That would really suck to lose to be eliminated that way as a fantasy player, but it's tough. But you probably have to start Wilson too. I mean, I don't know. That's crazy. Would you rather start Wilson or Phillip Rivers against whoever the fuck we said he plays?
Oh, Phillip Rivers, because he's got a good matchup.
Better matchup for sure against the Texans. Obviously, Wilson is by far the better quarterback, but these are the decisions we have to make.
We got the Bears versus the Vikings. Both teams still in it. I think Bears would be eliminated with a loss.
That seems...
The Vikings had the wild card spot until they lost this past week to the Bucks. So it was taken over by the Cardinals.
Bucks are tough. I would take the Vikings to win.
I would too. I know the Bears have been playing. Their offense finally figured out. Montgomery's had some great games, but the last time they played, Cousins had 292, two touchdowns and a pick. So not bad at all by any means. I think the Vikings hopefully they'll have a better kicker. Or their kicker will do better. He sucks.
Oh my god,
bad.
Dan Bailey.
Dan Bailey blew it. They would have probably won if Dan Bailey hit all his shit.
Didn't he finish like negative?
He missed
4 points or something?
2 extra points, 2 field goals, 3 field goals. He was oh my god, he was garbage. Complete garbage. It was hilarious.
Yeah, he finished with negative 4 points. He attempted 1 extra point and missed it. He attempted 3 field goals and missed all 3 of them.
Oh my god, no. So bad.
Better,
but I'll take the Vikings in this game.
I think I'm going to ride their high while the Bears have been... Their offense has gotten better and they finally won a game, but they've been on a hard
in more of a
streak.
must-win situation, the Bears are not going to be... They're not going to do well under pressure.
Yeah, no.
Then we have the Patriots-Dolphins. As a Patriots fan, I'm not looking forward to watching this game because I can't stand watching Cam Newton play. I don't like watching him play at all because he's so bad. Mm-hmm. His passes are so off target and everything. I'll take the Patriots in this game because Belichick knows how to destroy rookie quarterbacks. Look what happened when he played Herbert, 45-0.
Yeah. That's what
I will take. I'm not even gonna give Newton the win. Belichick gets the win. Patriots versus Dolphins. Keep the Patriots' hopes alive, and the Dolphins diminished.
I think I don't want to agree. I want to see the Dolphins succeed, but I think I might have to stick with the same because Belichick is known for just erasing who's the biggest threat on the other team's offense. He eliminates them from the game.
You got Stephon Gilmore on Parker, and you've got a rookie quarterback who's not going to be airing it out a lot.
I think that's the Dolphins' weakness is just a really good, stout defense. I don't think Tua's not at all seasoned enough to carry them. They don't have that great of a running game when they're healthy, and I think 3 or 4 of them are all hurt right now too. So I could see this being a low-scoring game. I think the Dolphins still have a chance down the stretch, But I think just a rock solid defense is kind of the bane of their existence. Is their offense can't keep it going, even though their defense is really good. I think the Patriots could have enough success. It's going to be a pick six or a Cam Newton 1 yard touchdown or something, but they'll get the lead and they'll keep it.
J.C. Jackson. And then we got the Jaguars versus Ravens. Minshew coming back as the starter.
As the sacrifice.
Ravens on really a downhill lately. You got to think that Lamar Jackson's going to have a baller game.
Yeah, they are playing the Jaguars, so I would
the Jaguars have
win.
Besides this past week when they look what did happen when Derrick Henry ran over him. James Robinson got a monster game too. I'll give it to the Ravens. They need it.
I can't believe
that one I'm going to give mostly to the coach as well. That one's going to be earned by Harbaugh.
Yeah, and the defense, I think. But Harbaugh is a really good coach for sure. It just the matchup's too lopsided, unfortunately.
Buccaneers versus the Falcons. Tom Brady's going to have a field day.
Yeah,
and the Falcons are done. They're being that great of a rush defense, and Todd Gurley is literally only touchdown dependent. He's not going to get any yards, and Matt Ryan, I could see putting together a decent day still.
Yeah, he could do it. The Buccaneers, contrary to what happened against the Vikings most recently, they've actually been pretty weak recently against receivers specifically. Unfortunately, Thielen and Justin Jefferson they had an uncharacteristically bad day, both of them. Not that that's indicative of anything, but yeah, I think the Bucs will handily defeat the only NFC team to be eliminated from the playoffs before Week 14, I guess.
The Lions versus the Titans. Just saw the Packers beating the Lions by a score. That's gonna be Titans. I think Tannehill. I think everyone's gonna have no one's gonna have a huge day. Like Henry's not gonna repeat. I don't think. I could see Swift putting together a pretty decent stat line.
Yeah.
But especially if Chase Daniel is the quarterback, Swift's gonna be a must start.
That's the difference maker for me for sure.
And so I think you got to give this to the Titans.
Yeah, with Chase Daniel, definitely. With Matt Stafford, I would still probably lean Titans. I feel like this matchup could be a good one for fantasy pieces in general, where both the defenses are subpar. If Stafford's there, then both offenses are capable of putting up points. So you could have a higher scoring game. The way that doesn't happen is Henry and Swift kind of control the pace of the game by running a little more. But I like that game a lot. That'll be a fun one to watch. I would lean Titans for sure.
Texans versus Colts. Cooks is back. That would sway it huge.
Yeah.
I feel like. Texans being eliminated from the playoffs. Colts, I want the Texans to win because I want the Titans to take the division. I don't want the Colts to win that division. They're both sitting at 9-4, but the Titans have the lead because of the tiebreaker.
Yes.
Currently. I mean, in regards to players, take a look at Kiki Kuti if he's available in your league. He's worth a look because they're
diminished.
Yes,
he scored. He only got like 2 or 3 catches, I think.
Texans only scoring 1 against the Bears. I'm afraid the Colts are going to win this one.
I would lean that way.
I think Jonathan Taylor's going to have a monster game.
Yeah, I think he's more or less unleashed. The Colts are really playing for something too. Like obviously everyone's playing for the playoffs, but the Colts have as legit a chance at anyone at the division. I don't know if they could sneak their. Well, they can't get a bye week, I assume, at this rate, but extremely unlikely.
Sadly, I see the Colts getting that one. Eagles versus Cardinals. Jalen Hurts versus Kyler Murray.
Battle of the Birds.
Bird.
Bird up.
That's going to be a tough one. I think that's going to be a surprisingly evenly matched because the Cardinals aren't as hot as they started. But in the end, you got to give it to Kyler over Jalen. I think that's it. It's going to be. Jalen had a great game against the Saints defense. And the Cardinals don't have anything up against the Saints defense.
Right, not even close.
But I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles won. I think the Cardinals will pull it off. But not even with Slay. I could see an upset. Like I'm scared, but I'm thinking actually I would pick Eagles. If I had $20 to place a bet, I would pick the Eagles.
That's tough.
I want the Cardinals really bad.
Yeah, I definitely want the Cardinals to win, but keep in mind, like they've really been slipping too. You know, like if the Eagles are on the up and up a little bit, the Cardinals are on the downswing. I think I would lean the more seasoned quarterback, ironically, in Kyler Murray. The Eagles actually have a pretty decent defense as well. And then the running game, Miles Sanders had a huge game this past week. Unfortunately, I can't find it, but I think he had, similar to like when Miles Sanders played the Steelers, he had like a huge run for a touchdown. But if that one run is taken out, he's not really running all that well, you know? So not that Kenyon Drake is amazing, but he did have a good game this past week. So I'm gonna lean towards the Cardinals.
I'm gonna sadly take the Eagles in this game. I don't want them to win at all, but I think it'll be them.
I think it's really close for sure. Either way.
Then we got Jets versus Rams. That's just Rams. Move on.
Yep.
Chiefs versus Saints.
Ooh.
Chiefs. With how that game like just went with Jalen Hurts. It's Patrick Mahomes is just the evolution of Jalen Hurts, is he not?
Yeah, it seems like it. He runs when he needs to, smart with the ball. That'd be really interesting. And it's a similar origin story, not exactly, but like Jalen Hurts is getting his chance right at the end of the season to presumably carry on to next year. I think with Mahomes, it was like week 17 or something. But yeah.
I'll take the Chiefs in that game.
I would as well.
Browns versus Giants. Browns. Yeah. Daniel Jones, maybe it might even get benched. Colt McCoy, we saw him again this past week. We see him too much because Daniel Jones fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that's a Colt McCoy game.
Daniel Jones is not like known for being a running quarterback as well, but he's fairly athletic, but he didn't run the ball at all this past week. I think that hamstring, those usually take a little while to come back from, so and that's indicative of that. So I think I would lead the same way for sure.
That's the Sunday night game, and then the Monday night game is the Steelers versus Bengals. You got to give that to Steelers. They're not going to lose 3 in a row, especially to the Bengals with a backup quarterback and a backup defense
and a backup running back.
So that's gonna be the Steelers.
Oh, by the way, fuck you, Giovanni Bernard. Okay.
Yeah.
Love you, buddy.
But those are all the games. A lot is gonna change next week. I'm sure there'll be less in the hunt, obviously, 1 week deeper. But I think a lot's coming down to those last 2 weeks. Is in the hunt. Everyone, you got 10-3, lowest 8-5 on the bubble. Patriots are lowest over in the AFC at 6-7, and the Panthers somehow still available. In the NFC, only 4 clinched, 2 in each conference so far. But we'll see.
This is really exciting with one bye week too. Like it makes. Like if there was 2 bye weeks still, then it's like, cool, the Chiefs and the Steelers probably have it. Maybe the Bills make a case or whatever. But with one bye week, I feel like there's just that much more competition. Like the Packers and the Saints are both 10-3 on top of the conference, but only one of them can get the bye week. And, I guess someone else could. But that makes it kind of exciting.
All right, let's go on and do some Bruce Clues. Woo! So I'm going first. All right. This wide receiver is leading his team in receiving yards. He already has the most receiving yards of his career, but he needs 1 more touchdown to tie his career best. And then I just gave some percentages. He is responsible for 20% of his quarterback's passing touchdowns and 26% of his passing yards. So, wide receiver number 1 in his team in receiving yards. He has the most receiving yards of his career and needs 1 more touchdown to tie his career best in touchdowns. He's responsible for 20% of his quarterback's passing touchdowns, 26% of his passing yards. So he takes up a chunk of that quarterback's time.
I felt really good until the last couple parts. I'll just guess right away without looking too much. I'm going to say Devontae Adams.
Incorrect. Well, obviously he's in receiving yards, yeah. Most receiving yards of career, probably not.
I think he's got 14... Oh, most yards of his career is what he's...
Yeah.
Oh, right now, yeah, sorry. And then the 1 TD ties the career best, which I think he's at 14.
Yeah,
I don't know what his
14.
career best is, but...
Next clue. Despite leading in yards, he has only scored 1 receiving touchdown this year. He is on...
It's not Adams.
No. He is on the 3rd team of his career, and as long as he doesn't miss any games, this will be the first game he has played. The first season he has played all 16 games.
Okay.
So he is leading his team in yards, but he only has 1 receiving touchdown. This is the 3rd team he's played for in his career, and he should play all 16 games, which would be the first time in his career he played a full season.
And so his career best receiving touchdowns is 2.
Yes.
All right, and then he's on his third team. The 1 touchdown, the 2 on the career high. I mean, maybe he's just really young. No, I mean, third team of his career, though. God damn. I will guess... It's not right, but I'll just say Robert Woods.
No, he is in the AFC East. That's Bills, Jets, Dolphins, Patriots.
Okay, so now I can more effectively go team by team. It's obviously not Stephon Diggs. It's obviously not John Brown, and it's not Cole Beasley because I've watched him score 2 touchdowns against the Packers live. I'll have to come back to the Jets. That could be... I mean, I don't know. I don't think Perriman or Crowder... I think they both scored more than enough. Dolphins, it's not Parker. And I can't think of the other receivers on their team. I don't know if maybe one of those weirdos like Grant or something.
One of those weirdos.
And then the Patriots, it's not Nkeel or Edelman. I don't want to think it's Barrett.
Did Edelman just disappear?
I think he got put on the COVID list or something.
And never came back.
Yeah,
I heard nothing about Edelman since he's missed a game, and ever since then he just hasn't been playing. I've heard nothing, no news about Edelman at all. I don't think he wants to play. He does not want to play with Cam Newton. I think that's the thing. He's just like, fuck this shit. I've had Brady my whole career, and you're gonna give me this bullshit.
I'm gonna guess they're on the Dolphins, but I'm going to guess poorly. I'll just guess Grant because I can't think of the other guys. Wilson, maybe? But I'll guess Grant.
It is Damier Byrd.
I was thinking about it. I have no idea what his history is.
Here's what you should have done. I said he's got 20% of his quarterback's passing touchdowns. He's got 1 touchdown. Which means
20%
his
of
quarterback
not that much.
has 5 passing touchdowns on the year.
That's a good...
That's what you missed.
I did not.
That's what you missed.
Who else has he played for? I have no idea of his history at all. I don't know how old he is.
He was actually with Cam Newton in Carolina.
Oh, jeez. That sounds vaguely familiar.
And he was in Arizona last year.
Okay.
But, yeah, Damier Byrd, under the radar because the Patriots don't really have an offensive...
26% of what I assume is like...
He got over
400
2,000.
passing yards.
But that's what if you would have gotten it easily, if you would have clicked with the 20% of his quarterback's passing touchdowns, he's only got 1 touchdown.
You specified receiving because I think he threw 1. I think.
No, he has not.
Damn.
That was Jacoby Myers.
Two Bird. No, was it?
I can't remember. But yeah, that's the clue that you would have gotten it on.
That would
if it would have clicked.
Yeah, no, that's...
And you would have realized 5 passing touchdowns. Okay, that's Newton.
Okay, well, I will attempt to throw you off now. So far this year, this wide receiver has 6 touchdowns. They are all receiving touchdowns. He is currently in his 4th season. His yardage total is 643. His 643 receiving yards this year, is more than his previous 3 seasons combined. So he's a receiver, 6 total touchdowns, 6 total receiving touchdowns. He's in his 4th year. His 643 receiving yards are better than his rookie, sophomore, and junior years combined.
I have to pee, but that's a side note.
It is P.
P. Rivers? All right, 643 yards, 6 touchdowns receiving in total, more than his previous 3 combined. All right, I'll give my guess off the bat. I'm going with Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
It is not MVS. That's a good guess. I wonder what it is.
I wasn't sure if he had 6 touchdowns on the year.
I think because
he's got at least
he hasn't missed
3 or 4.
Well, we'll have to look at. We'll look that up afterwards. I'm kind of curious. All right, I can pull it up after I read the next clue.
I also don't know what year he's in.
Yeah, he's. I want to guess 3rd, but it's right around there. But anyways, so part of his success this year has come at the expense or absence of other receiving options on the team. And because of this, I don't know that he's going to be as involved next year or whatever. And then he's definitely making a case for it. His 643 receiving yards actually leads his team as well. So he's benefiting a little bit from other receiving options not being around or not being around as much. And then that 643 number leads his team in receiving yards.
I got one of two. Is it Tim Patrick?
It is Tim Patrick.
Yes. I wrote him down the first try. I wrote him down the first one. My original list was David Moore, Christian Kirk, Tim Patrick, Greg Warden, MVS.
Nice.
All kind of fitting. Like,
I
all
would say
could
so.
seem like it. So it is Tim Patrick. I thought I had him on my original list, but that's crazy. When you said missing time, Sutton and Fant both missing time,
Yeah,
obviously. But that was a good one.
And Jerry Jeudy has 5 less yards receiving.
Yeah.
Oh, I 638 according to Sleeper, but it said 636.
Tim
somewhere
Patrick's
else,
getting
so
a lot
it's
of
weird.
touchdowns with low yardage lately, but
I was thinking about doing the sneaking in a clue, and he didn't have any of these, so I couldn't say it. But I was going to say he had a hat trick for Patrick.
Oh.
Didn't work out. MVS is only in his 3rd year, but he has 603 yards, pretty close.
Okay.
And 5 receiving touchdowns.
okay, so it wasn't too far off.
We were super close though.
All
That's
right,
funny.
final notes. Let's bring up the schedule and see what games we are not watching Sunday.
That's what the final note is.
Well, we only have to cut out noon games. There's only 3 late games on Sunday. There's 3 late games Sunday.
Yeah, and there's 8 games. Okay, so we have to cut out 2 again.
Yeah. So I feel like we can cut out
Cowboys
Niners, yes, and
I actually want to watch all the rest of the Bears Vikings. We'll probably watch for the division. Seahawks football team. I want to watch that if we can, but
I'm trying to think of which one won't be on TV. Bears Vikings?
Bears Vikings.
No,
will
that's got to be on
definitely
Fox.
TV. Yeah.
Or will Lions Titans be on Fox?
Ooh, that's a good point.
So I think if we had a choice, 49ers, Cowboys, and then our other choice to cut out would be...
I would vote... I don't want to cut any of these, but I would vote Texans,
Jags,
Colts,
Ravens?
Seahawks, Washington, Jags, Ravens.
Cut them out?
That...
I'm going to have to watch Texans, Colts because of Watson. I'm watching that
We're
game.
for sure watching the Pats. We're for sure watching, I think, divisional games with Lions and Bears. Yeah, and then I think we want to watch the Bucks for sure, and I think Seattle is fun to watch, and Washington I like to see the disappointment of Terry McLaurin not doing as much anymore.
But Patriots still in it. I'm rooting for the Browns tonight against the Ravens because that would help the Patriots' chances a little more. So I'm wearing my Braylon Edwards Browns jersey from freaking 2000 and something. But other than that, I gotta pee.
Let's pee together. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Fantasy Brews podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Fantasy Brews Pod. You can also follow us to download our episodes every week on any of your favorite podcasting services like Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Thanks again for listening. Have a beer for us on Sunday.